So I don't know who wants to kind of go first or if you tag in. So when did you guys first appear on Tony Grant and how old were you, each of you? I don't know who's the older or the younger.
Well, we were talking about that a little bit before the call. The specificity on the years is a little bit gray. We remember it's probably about 1971. So pretty much when you were on your way out, we were on our way in. And John and I had actually done some magic prior to that. We put together some things. We did something at Wolf Trap Farm Park. I actually have a little bit of a memento from Wolf Trap Farm Park, and that was just kind of a great outdoor venue. I think we were a part of some kind of an art show back then, so a little bit of public appearances as well as birthday parties and things like that.
Right,
so
right.
then, finally Tony Grant's came around, and we had a lot of history with Atlantic City. My grandmother had a place in Atlantic City, so we go down the shore all the time. My grandfather was there. We got to know him well. He loved the beach. It was cool. So we had a relationship with Atlantic City. And we actually had a little relationship with the Tony Grant Stars Tomorrow show before we even became a part of it.
Okay.
Going there and seeing the show. And, we started as ventriloquists before we even thought about magic. And ventriloquism was kind of hot back then. And there was definitely a lot of that on the show. So we kind of, took our influences from that and started grooming our skills to become performers in some kind of a way. Our parents loved entertainment. My mom, she was a groupie of a guy from the 50s by the name of Johnny Ray. And we knew him as a family member really close.
Wow.
And he would perform on the Steel Pier all the time. So my mom used to go to the Steel Pier, and that's where we kind of connected very deeply with Steel Pier. And the opportunity to come on the show came up. We auditioned for Tony down at his dance studio, probably in about, 1971, something like that. Got on the show, as magicians, had a blast. So that's kind of where it started for us.
Right.
And, morphed from there, friendships, lots of performances. We did it for probably 5 or 6 years until the end.
Till the end, 78, so around 78. Where did you grow up? Were you close to Atlantic City? Or you,
We were in Northern Virginia, Springfield, Virginia. So
okay.
Probably about a 4.5, 5-hour ride.
Wow.
Pretty good stuff.
One of the things that I liked the most before Atlantic City was there was a magic shop in Springfield, Virginia's shopping center. And I started going there all the time because I would want to see what was going on, all sorts of things. I was probably 12 or 13 years old. Well, the guys that owned the thing were trying to find other people who could help them. So they checked out what I was doing and, had me doing a bunch of different things, teaching people what was going on. In the thing, I was standing behind the
counter. You were behind the counter. You were one of the guys behind the magic counter.
Bingo, yeah. And just so you know, when I'm speaking, I just had a stroke, a really bad stroke back in January 19th of last year. And so there may be times when I'm thinking about something like, what you just said, and I know exactly what it is, but my mind is going, boo, and it just goes zooming off. And so if I do that, it's not because I'm stupid. It's because, well, maybe it's because I'm stupid, but it's probably because of the stroke. But yeah, I'd go there and I'd do all these things. And these guys would take off. The actual magicians, they'd take off and be gone for 5 or 6 hours, and I'd be doing things and pressing things around. And there's a couple times that I probably went home with my own stuff that catches on fire.
Flash paper.
You guys know what it is.
Flash paper.
Flash
Yep.
paper.
Cups and balls. You are proficient with cups and balls, yes?
Yep. He was
Yes.
the
Cups and balls.
John was the real magician amongst us. He had the gift of gab on stage. He liked to talk. He'd do the patter. He definitely did good with the close-up magic, and that's why he was great behind the counter while these guys went off and had lunch or whatever they did.
Right.
John
For the day.
was working before he was allowed to be working.
Wow. Well, you have to remind me.
It was fun.
Yeah, just to digress a bit, I'm still working on another documentary called Behind the Magic. I don't know if you know Wayne Hoffman. You can Google Wayne Hoffman. He's a younger guy. I think he's around 38, a mentalist. And I basically learned magic from Roy Mingus in Reading, Pennsylvania. Same kind of thing, going behind the counter. You know, he was an old time magician, and that's how I kind of learned. He introduced me to Dove Magic. I do a lot of Dove used to do a lot of Dove Magic. Now it's starting up again. But the whole documentary is actually travel around the world to brick and mortar magic shops. And we would go in and visit the shops, talk to the owners, get the history. And that's kind of behind the magic documentary. That's another one I'm working on. But that's a kind of cool story. That's a really kind of cool story, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been a bunch of different things in my life. One of them took me out to Vegas all the time, and I used to go to all the magic stores in Vegas. There were a couple of them, not necessarily in a place where everybody was going to spend their money, but we were off to the back of it. And it was an incredible place with a lot of fantastic magicians. And I bought stuff, but never got good at it because it was all really complicated for who I was at that time. And have you ever heard of Tim Glancy?
Tim Clancy?
Glancy with a G.
No.
Tim had been doing magic all of his life, and he started doing magic down in Florida, around Orlando in that area, and he started doing this thing for the basketball team there. It was just called Magic that he was doing, and they were called Magic. And he would come out and they'd be doing something like there was a big timeout for something, so he'd come out with a big something with four things on it, and he'd put a girl in there. Oh no, he would take one of the people that was
Broadcaster?
well, that was, what's that?
Like one of the broadcasters? No.
No, one of the people that was, hang on one second, somebody's trying to get in here. Hello.
It's all right. So Joe, were you able to find the
I did not find the sword.
Okay.
So it's actually a sword through the neck trick.
Right.
I found the
gimmick. Yeah, the does John know? Yeah. Okay. All right. Welcome back, John. Okay. So that's okay. So let me ask you a couple questions, John. So magic was kind of your thing. Do you guys have any recordings of you, video recordings? I know in '71, so that would probably take you into the '80s or something like that, doing magic. Yeah, nothing like that.
I mean, our parents did, 8mm film numbers of things in our lives, but for some reason that just escaped them. Never film us doing our art. We don't.
Okay. Have you ever converted your parents' 8mm film to digital?
We have not personally. I don't even know where that exists, if it even does anymore.
Okay, yeah, because my father, he has a couple, not with me on the stage, Tony, but like backstage stuff in the Clarendon, and it was all on 8mm, and he had reels and reels and reels of this stuff. He was just I don't think he was ever on the film because he was always shooting it. But I sent it off to Legacy Box, the company, and they just took and converted everything to Windows Media files. So, but I mean, if you ever find it, that'd be kind of cool.
I wish I could say that I just don't think it exists.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was a really wonderful place to live. The place, the Clarendon.
Clarendon, yeah. Is that where you guys stayed?
That was just a wonderful. Yeah.
Definitely for a couple of 2-3 years, we stayed at the Clarendon.
Okay.
And I mean, we didn't hang out there a ton. We used it for what it was for us, which is a motel.
Right.
We definitely ran around town and did a lot of crazy things in the rest of the time we were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a blast there. I remember you could climb out the window and get onto the roof of the hotel next door. And they had a pool that was over another fence, and somehow some of the girls from one of the shows was staying over there, and we'd meet up on the roof.
Right, yeah. Well, I recall. Now I stayed all summer, so 1969, 70, and 71. I stayed all summer, and my best friend was Steve Kay. He was a singer, and we worked with Tony Jr. So we did the evening shows, and then Chris's brother Mike Collins, he did the morning shows with Tony Sr. And we stayed at the Clarendon. I stayed in a small room. If you went past the front desk and went to the left, was the men and women shower, community shower and bathroom, and there was a little room back near the boiler room. That's where I stayed. Had a bed and a sink in it, and it was just great. It was I paid $25 a week to stay in that little room, and all summer long. Yeah, and I think I told you one of the girls wanted to try and get in my room. She jumped out the second floor into the pool, and then climbed out of the pool and broke through the window to get into my room. And I'll stop right there.
It's tough times back then.
Yeah, it was. It was. So tell me about whoever wants to talk about when you were on Tony, the routine that you guys did. What was kind of your signature performance for him?
Well, I think we only got a few minutes. I can tell you the background music. The background music was always Tijuana Brass. My dad was way into Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, and it was influencing our lives all the time. So it just seemed to work well for our show. It didn't have any vocals, so it was good for background. And if you had some patter to go over top, it was pretty easy. So Herb Alpert, we had a homemade. I think I have a picture of it. Yeah, it was a homemade. This is our one pick, but that actually came from a blacklight poster that I cut out, and we attached it to the front of this particular table. It was a portable table. This is a second Magic Duo table. This is the first one that was portable. The other one not so portable. So so we came up with this so we could get to Atlantic City and utilize it. But that was the table that we brought out onto stage. What you're looking at there is this was probably the typical outfit for the majority of the time we were there. This was in the movie theater. I think I had like 3 outfits and John had 2 collectively during our entire stay as magicians there. But the attire kept changing and evolving. That trick, the knife through the throat there.
Right.
That was like the grand finale trick. We had, I think, a couple other tricks each. I had some kind of a teapot trick, a teapot that poured out colored water, and then you'd remove some silks out of it afterwards. So that was kind of a basic parlor type trick. Right. And John did the candelabra trick. I remember it was vanishing candles. I believe that was the shtick on that, wasn't it, John?
Yeah.
And then we did the finale. I think we had time for 3 tricks, and that was pretty much, that was the core of it. And
John, can you tell me what the finale was? Do you remember what the finale was, John?
Well, the finale for Joe and I was that one that you were seeing with we would do the thing between my neck, the sword going through my neck, and then there'd be a thing at the end, bada bum bum bada bum. We'd be like dancing as that was going on, and Joe would be going through my neck, and that was us. I think the finale I did when I did my own show there was a torn and restored newspaper.
Yeah. So, John, so do you know any idea where that prop is, where you stick the sword through your neck? Do you have any idea where that might be?
I wish I did. That would be great. Joe, do you have that?
What, you mean like this?
That's the one.
Oh man! When Joe told me about that, I said you got to go on the hunt and find that. And then your face, John, is priceless, man.
That's the one.
That trick, and I remember that trick was either done well or done poorly. And when that trick was done poorly, you looked over the right and said, Joe, because I was actually stabbing you in the neck, So there was a couple of options: do the trick right, do the trick wrong. If I did the trick wrong, I get the look. I don't think you ever said, hey. I don't think I heard any words.